Hey guys, stay patient here. As you can probably tell, my voice is shot again. I woke up this morning and I literally had no voice, so I was planning on whispering for this show. But as it turns out, whispering just feels very weird, and my voice has come back a little bit. It's very deep. I'm sounding like Barry White again, and it's. I think because I had the flu, and I was recovering, so in my mind I was kind of better. I mean, I was still coughing a lot, but I was just a bit I wasn't very sensible. I got straight back into making videos before my voice was back properly, and I was using my voice a lot for recording, and I just didn't leave enough time for it to recover. So I'm going to make today's trophy update a little bit shorter, and then I'm going to take a couple of days just to kind of rest my voice and try and get it back to normal, because at the moment it's just dragging out. And every day I wake up and I'm fine throughout the day. Later on today I'll be okay, but I've actually kind of changed my recording schedule for this show on Sundays, because my normal schedule has changed on Sunday. So the morning is like the time I need to use. And it might mean that I have slightly less time to research for the show, but usually I try and do that on the Saturday. Yay me, big weekend. But like I say, I'm recording in the morning, so while my voice is really dodgy in the morning, it's a lot better than it was. It was literally broken. I'd speak and it would be almost like Morse code. Only some sections of the words would come out. But thankfully it's not a huge amount to discuss today, as would be expected at this time of year. And I apologise for the lack of enthusiasm and energy that I have in my voice today. But there is, although there's not a lot of stuff, a lot of different games, and there's not loads of sort of super easy and quick platinums to talk about, like there was seemingly every week last year. There are some key titles to discuss today, some ones that I'm actually really excited about. So there's actually kind of 4 games. I think it's 4 key games. No, wait, 5 key games that are either on PSN profiles now or are releasing very soon. One of them hasn't actually had its trophies added yet. But we got up to around here last week, and we're just going to go through them from the bottom up. The first one's Danganronpa. Now you see here, Danganronpa 1, it looks like 1.2 when you see it written, which kind of gives me the impression of like a Kingdom Hearts remaster, where they number it like 1.5 if it's basically Kingdom Hearts 1 with an extra kind of one of the extra smaller games. But that's not what Danganronpa is. Danganronpa is 1 and 2. So it's the first 2 games in the series, the 2 main canon games. And, like I say, if we click on it, or if we... Yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell here it's 1.2. But when people write it, when you see it written on Google or just as the title of the game on a website or something, it is written 1.2, so don't get confused. What it means is that it's Danganronpa 1 and Danganronpa 2 in the same package. They're both remastered or kind of at least ported across to the PS4. Now, these games are awesome. They're really, really good. These, in my opinion, are probably the best 2 games on Vita. Trophy-wise, they're not difficult. They're interactive novels or visual novels, but obviously there's a lot more to them than the visual novels we spoke about a couple of weeks ago or last week. We were talking about the super easy platinums on Vita, and there's visual novels that take 15-30 minutes, and it's literally you just skip through everything, make a couple of choices, and that's it. But with this one, it's kind of the same, but you move around, you move your character around the environment. Sometimes it's first person, sometimes it's third person. All the characters are like cardboard cutouts, basically, and it's done deliberately like a comic. But you'll approach people and talk to them, and it's almost like on the old shooters like Wolfenstein, where the enemies and anything on the ground would be a flat cutout, but as you move around it, it would turn to face you, to make it look 3D. and it never really worked. But that's kind of how this is. But the environments are all 3D and everything. Yeah, they're kind of, you do move around them in first person, so they have to be 3D to a certain degree. It's quite a difficult game to describe. Basically, if you've played Zero Escape on the Vita, which was free, so you may well have done, this kind of reminds me of that a lot. And the premise is, without any spoilers, because this is like the entire premise of the game and it starts right from the beginning, so I'm not spoiling anything for you here. But basically, it's almost like a battle royale situation. I don't know if you've ever seen that Japanese movie, Battle Royale. But you're in an environment, I won't spoil where you're going to be. I mean, if you read anything about the game, you'd know. But each game is set in a different location. And the basic idea is that you're trapped there, that you're, a student, a school student, you're trapped there with a bunch of other school students. And you're forced to kill each other to get the opportunity to leave. So what happens is if somebody can kill someone else and not get caught, then they leave and everyone else gets murdered, basically. It's really it's quite a dark story. Although it is approached in a very kind of light-hearted and humorous way, in a weird way. But if what happens is someone will kill someone, you're all friends, so no one thinks that anyone's going to kill anyone, but then the killing starts, and your job is to investigate the murder scene and investigate associated rooms and locations and stuff, and you find clues and that, and then when you found everything, it's very linear, it's very scripted, so you can go to the locations you need to search, I think in any order, but you do need to find all the clues. It's not like you find as many as you can and then go to the trial, which is what happens next. You literally, the game will only progress when you found everything that you need. So when you have, you'll go to a trial, and that's where the gameplay happens, really. I mean, it's only a small part of the game. The rest of it is quite long. There's a lot between each trial, but it's mostly dialogue and just following the story. But when you get to the trial, you have to get each section right, but you can sort of get it wrong a few times and then get it right, restart sections and stuff. But it's all about figuring things out. And there's little mini games, and you use clues, you piece clues together. And basically, in a roundabout way, you discover who the killer is. And then if they're discovered, they're the one to get killed. So, really, the bottom line is that it's because everything is basically scripted. There are trophies about, for instance, getting everything right in a trial on the first try and everything like that. But, I mean, you can follow guides for the trials. In fact, this is one of the games that sort of causes me to sympathise with people who complain about certain methods of trophy hunting. So sometimes we'll get people on the channel or on other trophy videos saying... or complaining that some people will rush through a platinum, or they'll play a game just for the platinum. And obviously all of us do that at times. And my answer to them is often that if I play a crappy game, then it makes me appreciate the really good games that bit more. Plus I get the trophies out of it. But, there are some games I'll whiz through, I'll skip through the dialogue and everything. And other people will complain, they'll say, why do you bother playing it if you're not going to listen to the dialogue, whatever. And this is the one game that makes me sympathise with that viewpoint, because, I hate the idea of anyone playing this and just using the option to skip the dialogue, because the story is amazing. But if you do want to make the platinum easy on yourself, then you can follow guides for the trials. Now, it's a long game. It's a long platinum. I think it's 50 hours or something, or maybe even more. And, a lot of that time is reading dialogue, so people might be tempted to skip it. I really hope you don't if you do play it. Because like I say, I don't mind if people want to sort of cheat and use guides for the trials, because that's not really story related. I mean, it's kind of more fun to do it yourself. But, when it comes to the actual story, following the narrative and all the dialogue and everything, I really hope you read it through, because that's what makes the game amazing. The stories are so good. It's all about, obviously the dynamic between the different characters, because some people are getting killed, and you kind of can't imagine anyone that you're with, or all of your close friends, killing each other. But then it's also about finding out what's actually going on, who's doing this to you, and like how you can get out of it. And there's lots of twists and stuff, and it's just really, really cool. And like I say, it's because it's a long game, it's probably not the kind of game people will buy just to platinum. They'll buy it to enjoy it and earn the platinum. So I don't see people whizzing through the dialogue, because it's still going to take a while to plat. It's not like a super quick plat if you do whiz through the dialogue, and you probably you wouldn't have a clue what was going on, so you'd struggle with the trials, because you'd be totally lost, if you hadn't followed what everyone had said, and you wouldn't even know what your next objective was, because I don't think it really tells you anywhere. You just need to kind of listen to what people say, and you get an idea of where it is you need to go. There's also another mode, like a separate mode, which is all about getting to know the characters, and it's kind of a strange mode. It's not as good as the main game. It's okay, but you kind of, it's pretty much tacked on. You have to slog through it to get the platinum, so that's a bit annoying. But you use that to max out your knowledge of the characters and to max out your presence. You kind of buy presence in the game from vending machines by getting money, and then you kind of there are some missable, well, no, not exactly missable things, but through the campaign you can replay chapters, but there are some things that you want to kind of bear in mind as you're playing through to try and make sure you don't have to go back too much. There's collectibles, and there's also some events that only trigger, that give you rewards that you need for trophies, basically. Some events only trigger if you have a certain item on you when you're speaking to a certain person, and those items are among the presents that we mentioned that you can buy. But it sounds quite convoluted when you look at the trophy list. It sounds quite complex, but 99% of the game you're just going to be sat there not really worrying about trophies. You're just going to be sat there like engrossed in the in the dialogue and the story and everything. And if you haven't played this on Vita, I actually, although this obviously is coming out on PS4, and I don't think I've actually mentioned the reason I played it is because it's on Vita. No, maybe I did. Anyway, I think on Vita is probably more beneficial to play on Vita, because it's the kind of game that's really cool to just have and do like in short stints, maybe when you go to bed or whatever. So once you finish your normal gaming, I'll often head to bed and I'll do just like half an hour before I fall asleep, and just progress the story a little bit. And if you've not played it on Vita, I almost recommend, I don't know which would be cheaper, because obviously you're buying them both separately on Vita, but on PS4 you get them both together. So it's up to you really what console you want to play it on. But I think if you enjoy story-driven games and you like, getting absorbed in a narrative, and you like the kind of kookiness of Japanese games, then this is just so awesome. I love it. I really do. The characters are awesome. Everything is just such a great series. We're not going to look so much through the trophies, because a lot of it, I could explain it to you, but it won't make sense until you play the game. But like I say, it's long, it's not hard. It's like, I think a 4 out of 10, but to be honest, it's less than that, because everything is a case of, like, you just do what you need to do. It's not like skill involved. It's just pressing on the right buttons at the right time, going to the right places, all that kind of stuff. So, it's, if you want a nice, long, story-driven game, then definitely pick that up, either on Vita or on PS4. Next up, we have Kingdom Hearts. Now, where's the main one? Let's have a look, actually. We're going to search for Kingdom Hearts here. So, it's a shame you can't filter your results, because they've changed the way PSN Profiles works, where it now searches for games with a similar title. It doesn't have to be exactly what you type. So it'd be cool if you could kind of filter the results to just be PS4 or whatever. But which PS4 ones we got? We got 0.2 Birth by Sleep. That's one of the kind of add-ons, isn't it? I don't think the trophies for 1.5 or whatever it's called have been added yet. It will be the PS4 version of this, I think, Final Mix. So just to have a look, it's not like ultra rare, but not a huge number of people. Wow, a lot of people played it. 122,000 or 23,000, and there's 8,500 plats. This is actually a game. This was a game I tried. I played Kingdom Hearts 2 back in the day, And then when it came out on PS3, the original first one, I think I might have mentioned this before, but I started playing it, and I think I was too focused on trophies, which took the joy out of it for me. And I was trying to, because I didn't have a lot of time. I knew it was a long game, but I had a lot of other games to play as well. So I was like, right, I'm going to make sure I get the trophies in as few playthroughs as possible. And so I went in knowing what was required for the trophies and trying to make sure I did everything right. And it was kind of, I was getting a bit confused at times, and because I didn't know the game very well. I should have just gone in and played it and enjoyed it and got to know the game and understood, built up an understanding of the systems and everything. So maybe when it comes out on PS4, in fact, I wonder because we've got Heart's Birth. What I'm trying to figure out is if any of these games have separate trophy lists on PS4, because the games that are added onto the PS4 version, Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance, they aren't showing up as PS3 games. So it might be that the reason Kingdom Hearts 1.5 on PS4 hasn't got a trophy set yet is maybe it shares a trophy set with Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, which is the same game. You'll see it here. I wonder, let's have a look. 1.5 and 2.5. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, so maybe... right, so the full list of titles included is Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. That's the one that was on PS3, the original Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, that was on PS3, 358 Days, blah, blah, blah. 2.5 includes 2 Final Mix, Birth by Sleep, Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts Recoded. So we got Birth by Sleep here. And it doesn't mention Dream Drop Distance, I don't think. Yeah, one of you guys may know the answer to this. I haven't actually thought to look this up, but I think what must be happening here is that the PS3 versions came out with some extra games. As you can see, it's got Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, then Chain of Memories, 358 by 2 Days, or however you pronounce that, Recoded, and that's part of Kingdom Hearts 2, I think, and then Birth by Sleep. So 2 separate games with like 3 games on each. Like the main Kingdom Hearts 1 on one, Kingdom Hearts 2 on the other, and then 2 extra bits of content on each disc. Now it looks as though the PS4 version is coming out with all that stuff again, a bit like Final Fantasy X, which had the same trophy set on PS4 as PS3 and Vita, but it's adding some content, so there's only trophies showing up on PSN profiles for the extra content that wasn't on the PS3 version. So that's a bit of a shame, I suppose, although, like I say, I've got at least Kingdom Hearts 1.5 on PS3, so I could always pick it up again on PS4 and actually give it a second chance. Because like I said, I played the second one on PS2, and because there was no trophies, I just lost myself in it and I enjoyed it. I can't remember a huge amount about it. I think I completed it, but it didn't really grab me when I tried the first game again. But if I tried it again and didn't focus so much on trophies, maybe I'd enjoy it a bit more. Anyway, from here we're going to take a look at one of the other games that I was referring to here. Oh man, this is The Flame in the Flood. This has been out on PC, on Steam for a little bit. What was that? It said something about, in fact I'm going to rewind that because I want to check that. I was looking away. One of the most memorable and satisfying survival games in the last few years. So this, although this almost looks like something like Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons or something, it's got that kind of art style. It looks like a kind of puzzle platformer. But this is a roguelike survival game, but it's like a different take on the roguelike or on the survival genre. So I'm not sure if you see it through this actual gameplay trailer, but it comes up, like I've seen some actual gameplay, and it comes up on the right hand side with different sort of status changes, such as like plus cold or plus tiredness, or you can get exhausted. There's all these stats, because it's a survival game, there's all these stats you need to track, but I think they've been kind of simplified, so it's quite a basic, it's not overly complicated. You can see from the art style, they've kind of stripped it down to its core, as it were. And we'll have a look at the wiki page in a minute, just to give you guys an idea of what it's all about. But it looks really cool. I like the look of it, and I like the idea of because I haven't really played a lot of proper survival games. Things like, I suppose DayZ would count, but I'm not sure if DayZ includes sort of status ailments or whatever. But this is coming out, I think, it's coming out in January 2017. I think I saw the release date. I think it's this week sometime. Pardon me. So this is the wiki page. So if we just give you a rundown of what it is. The Flame of the Flood is a roguelike survival video game produced by the Molasses Flood. You'll see on the right hand side here that it's developed and published by the same company. And so it's an indie game, an actual indie game, not just an indie in the sense that we use the term to describe any small downloadable title. It's actually an independently published game. It's developed... Oh, maybe it's not on Xbox. When was the release date? Yeah, okay, maybe it's not out on PC, sorry. Anyway, let's have a look. The only companion the player has is a dog called Aesop, who can sense danger and fetch supplies. The player must pay attention to Scout's needs, such as her energy, thirst, hunger, and warmth. And not paying attention to them can result in death. Once a player dies, the death cannot be undone, as the Flame in the Flood is a permadeath game. There's a crafting system allowing the player to create new items. Players will also need to scavenge areas for valuable items. Factors such as the weather will impact the gameplay. Players are also able to create insulated clothing to protect them from the cold. One of the developers referred to it as a travelling survival game. Now you'll probably increase, or your interest in the game will increase when you read the development section. The game was developed by a team of people who previously worked on BioShock, Halo 2 and Rock Band. Had a successful crowdfunding campaign reaching $250,000 out of 150,000 goal. So the reason people played it is because it's been on beta. It's been available through a beta on Steam for its Kickstarter backers. So that was back... Oh, wow, that was back like 18 months, or nearly 18 months ago. Wow. Anyway, if you're anything like me, it looks kind of interesting. The reviews are all over the place. Look, the Xbox One version got a 4 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10. So you can never really tell. Sometimes when you look at an aggregate score, which is like around 75, sometimes some of those reviews are really high and some are really low. And the ones that are low might have a problem with the game that you don't care about. They might say, oh, there's not enough story, but maybe you don't need a story in your survival games, or some other feature, some other aspect of the game is weak and it's an aspect that you don't care about. But if it's an aspect that you do care about and it's really important to you, then you probably agree with the low score. So sometimes you can't really tell a lot by looking at an average review score. You need to look at the individual ones and maybe read one of the highest reviews and read one of the lowest and see which one sort of applies to you, which one caters for the things that you care about, and then you're probably likely to agree with whatever that review score is. So I'm interested in checking this out at some point. I probably won't ever get a chance to play it because all I'm playing at the moment is games for work, and I haven't played a game, I haven't chosen to play a game myself for as long as I can remember. But it looks pretty cool. There were, let's see, where do we get up to? The Flame, that was the Flame in the Flood, yeah, this one here. Trophy-wise, there's a few people playing it, but we're not going to be able to tell much. Obviously, it's permadeath, so there's probably going to be some level of difficulty. But I get the impression from the visual style and from the write-up that maybe it's kind of geared towards people who haven't played a survival game before. It's not trying to be overly in-depth. It's not like Don't Starve or something. It seems to be quite appealing to the eye, the kind of game that people would see and be like, oh, I'll try that out, without really knowing it's a survival game. So maybe it's like my first survival roguelike or something, like an introduction to the genre. But I may be wrong. I just get that impression. Die in every possible way. Oh, wow, that could be a while, couldn't it? Because when you die, you have to restart. Unless you can upload your save. I bet you can upload your save to the PlayStation Cloud. But then if you did that, it wouldn't track your death, would it? So you need to, depending on how far through the game you need to get to be able to earn all the kill or all the deaths, yeah, that could take a while, because you'd need to play through and get to the first opportunity to die, and then start again and play through further to get to the next opportunity. You might need to, there might be like a monster that kills you halfway through the game, and you need to get to him and die and then restart again to be able to complete the game. So depending on how long the game is, that could take a while. A lot of these look, let's have a look actually, because they seem like they're described in an easy to follow way. Speak with every river resident, kill a wolf, eat every type of plant, build a campfire. A lot of these, I'm guessing, will just happen naturally. Repair the raft, like for 1,000 points of damage. Visit every location type. So not every location, I'm guessing that's like a desert location and a coast location, forest location, or whatever. Start a new game with items in Aesop's bag. I'm guessing you can kind of carry stuff across, maybe. Poison 20 wolves. Travel 20 miles with the motor running. Contract every affliction. That could be annoying. Let's just scroll down actually to the gold ones and some of the silver ones, because these are going to be the longest winded or the hardest. Survive 200 miles in endless mode. Okay, so when he said it's like a survival journey game or traveling game, it's obviously about not just hunkering down and making a camp, but like moving forward. I think you've got to travel down this river. So obviously you take the raft, and then when you run out of fuel or whatever, you have to dock and do some scavenging or whatever. So 200 miles in endless mode. So that's, I'm guessing, there's no story to that. There is a campaign mode by the looks of it. So reach the kingdom in the campaign. So obviously the hardest trophy is going to be actually finishing the game. And then the other one is going to be just playing in the endless mode and traveling as far as you can. Eat all the bad stuff in a single playthrough. So I'm guessing that makes you ill, and it'd be quite hard to maybe treat yourself. So if you have to eat everything in one playthrough, you'd have to be planning ahead, making sure you've got all the medical supplies you need to sort of get rid of whatever ailments you have. 40 days in endless mode without sleeping in shelter. Yeah, I mean, it could be tricky, but it looks fun. I think it's one to keep an eye on at least. I'm going to keep one eye on that every now and again. There was one more at least. Yes, it was Valkyria Revolution. This is, of course, part of the Valkyria series. The previous one was Valkyria Chronicles. Now, Valkyria Chronicles, this is actually called Valkyria Revolution. You might have seen it written like that. I think that's its Japanese name. A lot of Japanese stuff. Oh, there is one more game actually after this that we're going to talk about. But I actually don't know this series very well. It came out on PS3, Chronicles, Valkyria Chronicles came out on PS3 before there were trophies. And it received a great response, but I just never got around to playing it. And I bought it when it came out on PS4. But I have yet to play it. I bought it sort of before I started ramping up the YouTube content, and that's pretty much taking up all my spare time now. So I haven't had a chance to get on it, which is the same for about 100 games that are all still in their wrapping. But it's, it got amazing reviews. The PS4 version, even though it's an old game, the remaster, despite not really having anything massively new, I remember it got a 9 out of 10 from IGN, and I think it got, good reviews from pretty much everyone. But there seems to be a key difference between this. In fact, I was going to show you guys the trailer. You'll probably notice straight away if you've played Chronicles, well, maybe not straight away because it takes a while to get into the actual gameplay. This is a gameplay trailer, and most of it is just like clips, scenes of the cities and characters and stuff. But the main difference is that it looks more like a kind of free roaming RPG. I believe Chronicles had RPG elements, but it was basically a turn-based strategy game. Now, you did have control of your character. You could run around, but it would be a case of a bit like on XCOM, where, when it's your turn, you'd use your characters one at a time. And then rather than clicking on where you want them to go, you'd actually, manually move them and then sort of fire your weapon or whatever it is you want to do. But this one looks very much like, rather than having individual levels, I get the impression that it's one big game. And when we finally get around to some of the combat, you'll notice that the guy is, moving around like he would in any RPG. So although it's from the same franchise, I don't think it's like a direct sequel. It's almost like with Final Fantasy, where each game has a different battle system, and then sometimes like 13 had sequels where the battle system was basically the same, but then as soon as there's a full-blown like new game, you probably noticed there, let's sort of like, where was it? So you see, you're kind of moving around freely. That's the impression I get. I may be wrong. Some of you may have played it and might be able to correct me, but it looks as though it's kind of free roam, proper RPG, not a turn-based strategy game anymore, but it does look cool. Coming out this week on the 19th, so that's Friday. No, wait, Thursday. It's very strange. There's been like, there's 2 release dates. In fact, the other one is the other game I'm going to talk about. There's 2 release dates this week. One's on Wednesday and one's on Thursday. Now, I think they must have got that wrong because, games come out on Tuesday and Friday. But that looks cool. We're not going to look at the trophies too much because, I couldn't really tell you what any of it means. I don't have any experience with the franchise yet. But maybe have a look through that in your own time. I'm also thinking of, trying to rescue my voice a bit, not talk too much. But the last game I want to discuss isn't actually on PSN profiles yet, but it is coming out this week. Like I said, it's coming out on Wednesday according to the release date announcement. So I'm guessing that means Tuesday or Friday. But it's Gravity Rush 2. Now, you may have noticed some reviews for it. It's getting great reviews, like 8 and higher, most of them that I've seen. And it looks really cool. The first Gravity Rush was on Vita originally, and you may have played it. It was free. I can't remember exactly when, but it was free at some point. I think it wasn't last year, it wasn't 2016, because I think it was featured in my video looking at the freebies from 2014 and 15. But it's really good. It's really, really good. A lot of people will look at it and think, maybe it looks a bit niche or whatever, but it's really cool. It works well. And I actually recently played it on PS4 for a customer. I did the Platinum and all the DLC on the PS4 version, which is like a remaster. And I actually enjoyed it more because the controls were a bit easier to handle. And there's one DLC event or one DLC challenge. Oh man. There's one challenge in the DLC that's like, I found really hard on Vita, and I always skip it because it's just, I could probably do it now that I know it better after doing the PS4 version, but there's one sort of move you can do in the game where you slide and you have to steer using motion controls. And on Vita, you hold L2 and R2 to start the slide, and then trying to steer with motion controls on the Vita while holding the buttons, it just doesn't feel right. It's very finicky. It's kind of very difficult to be accurate with it. But on the PS4, you still use motion controls, but somehow it feels a lot easier. So I'm hoping that Gravity Rush 2 will be better than the first one because it's easier to control. Obviously, if you want to play the first one, play it on PS4, unless you have it free on Vita, play it on PS4. It is a better version, just easier to get your head around and easier to kind of function. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the second one. It looks really good. Apparently it's got a lot of content. I think completing the game takes like 30 odd hours, so it's quite a long game, and there's probably a lot of side content as well. But basically, let's have a look. Let's find a trailer for it, because some of you may not know what it is I'm talking about. I'm sorry if my typing's really loud. I've actually just realised that my keyboard was rested on the base of my mic. And the main character's kind of cute as well, so that's always a plus. Which one's, 137. Let's go with the PlayStation one, just so that we don't get some other channel complaining that we've used theirs. Hopefully this doesn't get copyrighted or anything. I think if you've got the actual screen smaller, maybe they won't be able to track it. But yeah, because obviously not that many people played the first one. I think, because it was Vita originally. Because it was Vita, not a lot of people got the Vita. So now it's coming to PS4. The second game is coming, I think, exclusively to the PS4. They're still kind of explaining how the game works. They're not assuming people know. It looks pretty cool. The particle effects are nice. Basically, you play as Cat, who can manipulate gravity, so she can fly and stuff, but you're basically always flying in one direction. And so you can sort of basically turn gravity off. And then if you fly towards a surface and land on the surface, gravity is then kind of shifted for you so that you're held on that surface. And you've got a gravity meter in the top left there that drains as you use your powers and stuff. And then obviously it comes back. If you just land on normal ground, it comes back. But there's all these cool moves. It's very fast paced, and it's just nice and intuitive and fun to play. It's different as well. It's a nice, unique game. I really enjoyed it. It's probably not for everyone, but it was very cool, the first one. I think it's worth checking out for you guys, the second game. We can't look at the trophies yet because they've not been announced, or at least they're not on PSN profiles. I did look last night to see if there was an announcement on Exophase or anything like that. But I couldn't find anything. But yeah, I mean, I think that's basically it for today, guys. I'm not sure how long it's been. Maybe it's been as long as usual. I don't know. I lose track of time when I'm doing these videos. And I apologise that I've been a bit groggy. I'm just scanning through. I'm still waiting for Black and White Bushido to release. This is a stacking list for it. The original list was added weeks ago, and it's still not out. Or at least it doesn't look like it's out because 2 people have played it. But yeah, I'm going to go, guys, because I'm knackered and my voice is just killing me. But thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope this has been enjoyable. Just to recap for anyone, I actually had someone ask on one of my videos if I could do a recap at the end in case people don't have time to watch the whole thing. So as a quick recap, we spoke about, where are we? We spoke about Danganronpa 1 and 2, Reload, their Vita games, Japanese visual novels with awesome stories, and they're quite long platinums but not too difficult, and they're just really, really, really good. I totally recommend them, although I would recommend playing on Vita if you have the choice, because it's the perfect game to kind of just make a bit of progress on occasionally while you're in bed or on a bus or something. Kingdom Hearts looks as though the actual base games that came out on PS3 are coming out again on PS4, but there's no new trophies for them. Not 100% on that, but it looks like the only trophies that have been added for PS4 is the new content that wasn't on the PS3 versions. So if you buy it on PS4, you have the opportunity to get a new platinum from Dream Drop Distance and some more trophies from Birth by Sleep. But all the rest of the trophies from 1.5 and 2.5 and the other Chain of Memories and all that stuff looks as though they share a list with the PS3 counterparts. Valkyria Revolution, sort of follow up to Valkyria Chronicles, which got amazing reviews. It looks very different. It looks like it's an RPG rather than a turn-based strategy game, but it's bound to be very good knowing their pedigree, so fingers crossed for that. The Flame in the Flood looks really cool, like a simplified survival roguelike game. Probably going to be a bit tricky, but it looks fun, looks interesting. And Gravity Rush 2, a sequel to a game that was underrated and was a lot of fun on PS Vita, even more fun on PS4, so I've got high hopes for the second one. So, there you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If my content slows down for a couple of days, it's because I'm giving my voice a rest. But hopefully I'll be back raring to go in a couple of days. And like I mentioned yesterday, I have a Clockwork Tales of Glass and Ink guide on the way, and I also have a top 10 on the way as well. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Oh, one more thing before I go. Has anyone played Steep? I know one person left a comment in the comments of one of my videos. and he said that it was nice, and well, he found it easy. The voting thread is all over the place. Some people like 3, 4, other people were 7. You can see here, if we look at the poll results, let's see, all up and down the scale. So if anyone's played that and they've got any, opinions on it, or, they can let me know how they found the platinum. I'd love to know, because I'd really like to play it, but I don't want to be stuck with a game that I can't finish. I'm sure I could finish it. I mean, 7 out of 10 isn't difficult, but yeah, give me your impressions on that. I'd love to hear it. All right, guys, I'm off. I will catch you in a few days, hopefully. Have a great weekend or Sunday, whatever time of day it is for you now. Cheers for watching. I'll catch you later.